Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Mindset Talks, where we try to get in the mind of a top producing real estate agent or business owner and try to learn with them. Today's guest is someone who I consider a friend, who's really influenced me over the years and has really been a mentor to me. So I'm very excited to have Valerie Caro. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about. So I want to dive right in. Would you give us a little bit of a cliff notes about your time in real estate?
Well, this year's 37 years.
Wow.
I started in real estate when I was 18,
Okay.
and I've been enjoying it mostly ever since.
Okay. Wow. So 37 years, and it's Flagstaff, Arizona, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And career best PR for transactions in a year?
That was 189.
189. Okay. Awesome. And then what's the goal for this year?
The goal for this year is 100.
100. Good. All right. So you've pulled it back a little bit.
The 189 was in, I think, 2008. I had a HUD contract, and I was doing a lot of HUD sales, and that that was a lot of work that year.
Yeah. So it was a strategic decision to pull that back a little bit. Gotcha.
Absolutely. And I'm making way more money right now than I did then. So it was a financial decision
Too.
as well.
Good. Well, I think that leads into my next question, because one of the most unique things about your business is your schedule. The first time I heard you talk about it, I was shocked. I didn't believe it was possible, and I was very intrigued. So can you tell us a little bit about your average work week? You know, what days you work, roughly your hours in the day?
Right. Well, on the days that I work, I get into the office at 6:15.
Okay.
And I'm definitely out of here by 3, sometimes 2. I have 2 appointments scheduled in my day at 11 and 1.
Okay.
And that's when I meet clients. So.
Okay, so you're doing 100 deals a year. You said on the days you work. So which days are those?
Usually Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
So, and probably half of Wednesday. You know that I have a granddaughter who takes up Wednesdays.
Yeah.
She's turning 7 this year, and every Wednesday, pretty much of her life, we've been able to take her. And it's summertime now, so we can get her all day. But during school, we only get her for a half day. And then Fridays are Wealthy Friday, and I focus, maybe not even my business, but my attention on doing things that are bigger than myself. So I don't usually schedule appointments on Fridays.
So you're very specific about how you schedule your time. It sounds like 3 days of real estate where you're getting out at 2 or 3, and then you have specific time for your granddaughter, and then specific time on thinking bigger, Wealthy Fridays. How about Saturdays and Sundays?
Well, those are spent doing not real estate.
Okay.
But,
so you're off. You're off days.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
So in the early years, was your schedule always like this, or is this something you came to at some point in your career?
Actually, my schedule's been like this for a long time, and so that's easy for me. And I want to remind you that from 6 to 3 is 8 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, it's a full day. Everyone hears, "Oh, you're off at 3." Like I got in at 10.
Yeah, right.
No, I've been working. One of the tactical advantages that I have is between 6:15 and 8, I can get more done than most people can do all day, because I don't have the distractions, and I'm able to just focus and do my job. So.
Right. So you really maximize those early morning hours. You know, most agents have the mindset that you have to be available 24/7. So I hear you've been doing this most of your career. What made you decide to take this approach? Because it's different. You don't hear this a lot.
So, what started this, which was probably 20 years ago, is I lost my daughter, and I decided that life is too short to just work like a dog all the time. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And to honor her and to, I get off at 3 o'clock. I'm able to ride a horse or fly a plane or go golfing. I mean, there's still light in the day.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to just enjoy my life every day. And that was a huge priority after that happened.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's one thing that I've learned from you. Like, you don't let the time slip by. Even when you're not at work, you're always doing something fun and exciting and planning your next adventure. And I admire that.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing. So I guess the question that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking when they watch this is how do you possibly manage it all? If you're doing 100 transactions, working 3, 4, 5 days a week, depending on the week, how do you manage it?
Well, I have a really good, strong, small team. I have a transaction manager, a listing manager, and a buyer's agent. And when everybody's here working, it's a beautiful machine.
Awesome. Okay, so you have help and support. You're not just doing it on your own. So you must have taken some time to create some systems and to plan this.
Right. Right. I would say maybe a year ago, or 2 years ago, I took a whole year and worked on building out the systems for my business and making it sustainable and able to run sometimes without me. And it's going along really well. I mean, I learn stuff every single day, even after 37 years, but I mean, that's good.
So you didn't just sacrifice the customer service. You didn't just say, well, my phone's off, I'm not going to be here. You took the time and planned out a good portion of time in the past year to set this up so the customer service doesn't suffer, right?
Absolutely. And I thought it was going to take maybe 3 months to do everything, and it took a year and 3 months. So
it always takes longer than we hope for, right?
Exactly.
All right. What personality style are you?
I'm expressive.
Okay. And as an expressive, did it come naturally to build out these systems and get your business set up this way? Or did you really have to work at that and learn how to do that?
No, it was excruciating.
Okay.
So, but I will tell you this, once you get in the habit of having a schedule like I do, I mean, it is cathartic to get in, make your calls, stay on your schedule. If I'm ever off my schedule on my work days, it feels weird. Like I know what I should be doing and I go back and do that. So it just takes years of beating that into you to make it part of who you are. And honestly, as an expressive, I need that, or else I would be just bouncing off the walls everywhere. So I need that structure, and the tighter the schedule, the more free time I get. So,
and that's super interesting because I think most people think the more scheduled you are, the less free time you have, the more constrictive. But it's really the opposite, isn't it?
It is the opposite. Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds like you've created those habits that have just become second nature by sticking to that schedule for so many years.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, good. So let's go back to the sales a little bit. So you've had some big years. You're right around 100 now, which is still a very big year. How does your business break down in terms of listings sold to buyer sales?
Well, we do about 75% listings, and then 25, 30% buyers.
Okay. So very listings heavy. Now, a lot of the country, of course, has had listing shortages that they've been dealing with over the years. For the past 2, 3 years, is your market different, or have you seen that as well?
We've seen shortages in inventory of good properties to sell. Multiple offers are still happening even right now.
Good.
For good property, good clean properties priced correctly.
Okay, good. So you're sounds like you're seeing what a lot of us are seeing in your market. So how have you been able to maintain steady sales when you're so listings heavy with all the shortages out there? How have you been able to maintain that?
So I think the key for some of that is doing both ends of the transaction.
Okay.
So we have buyers and we have sellers, and we put them together. So I mean, double ending a lot of transactions. And I joke that why wouldn't I want to work with my favorite agent?
Which is you.
Yeah, which is me.
Right.
And we've got a great team, and we're able to put a lot of stuff together because we have the best listings, so we have the best buyers.
Which they go together hand in hand.
Yeah.
So at this point in your career, does the business kind of just come in? Does your phone ring off the hook? Or are you still, because you've been doing this 37 years, or do you still actively, go find it?
On the days that I work, I actively go find it.
Okay.
Yeah. I make it a point. I mean, that's what that's what a real estate agent should be doing all the time, is talking to people about selling property. And so, I mean, call it whatever you want. That's what you have to do to maintain and grow a business. But I do get a lot of calls coming in, so that's
Sure.
nice.
Well, it's a combination of that customer service over the years that you've been very mindful to do.
Yeah.
That's created that, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to the early years, because now, you're getting some of those calls in from your good customer service. But in the early years, when you were trying to get your business off the ground, what worked for you in the beginning to actually give you a little momentum where you felt like, you know what, I can do this?
Well, I started in real estate when I was 18. And so right out of high school, basically. And it's hard to remember back that long, but I started my career with somebody who was like a grandfather to me. And so he was very supportive and didn't really have a system. And, I don't know about your business, but my business, for like 24 years of that time, I was, doing fine. And I thought I was crushing it. I was here in Flagstaff and I did 24, which is like 2 a month. And I was like high-fiving myself, and they give you awards and everything.
Yeah.
And then I went to MFO and started coaching and being around people that are doing these amazing numbers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. What am I thinking to myself? So,
Right.
And that's when the numbers in my business really took off.
Gotcha. Okay. So in the early years, you had a mentor, it sounds like at that point, even someone that helped you along the way and guided you. So you were able to get in that 24 deal range, which, even being honest, like a lot of agents really struggle to get there, right? Even two deals a month is very challenging for a lot of people. We're in a business that's hard to last in. So you got it off the ground. And then with coaching, that's when you really saw your numbers jump more to that 100 up to the 189.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? You're the same person, right?
Yeah.
What was the shift mindset wise for you that clicked where you learned how to do that?
So I'm in Flagstaff, and basically at that point in time, the population was about 50,000. So when I was introduced to Mike Ferry, just the exposure that I did not have here to really great agents was amazing. That was shifting point, and really understanding that and putting a number down and then going for that number and having systems and building a team to support those numbers and support that client service. Like that was what got me going at that point in time. I looked at people and I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can certainly do this. So what are they doing? And I want to do that.
It's almost eye-opening, right? Like it's something that you didn't think was possible. And then when you see it, you're like, oh, well, if they can do it, I can do it, right?
Because it wasn't happening here.
Right.
I mean, how would I know? You know, I'm like on a little island here. And just being able to have that exposure, I think, and then you're like, wow, okay.
Right.
If I'm working these hours, I could make 4 times the money I'm making right now with basically the same amount of work. So, you know, where do I sign? Right.
And it all starts with kind of like a thought or a belief, right? But you have to be able to write down that 100 deals, right? Because if it's not even on your radar, you can't write it down. So that is a big piece to it.
Yeah.
Has it all been just an easy, you know, every year you get a little better than the next, straight arrow up, or has there been challenges?
I think there's always challenges. Anybody that says that is probably fibbing, that they're like, oh yeah, no, it's been a huge trajectory. And you're like, okay, all right. So, but
it sounds good. We want it to be that way, but it's not reality, right?
Right. It's like an Instagram filter. I mean, you kind of look like that, but you really don't. So, yeah.
So what do you do, like mindset wise, when you're going through something tough in business that, you know, you're not hitting your goals the way you want, or it's not going the way you want business wise? What are some of your mindset tricks that work for you?
Just to get back onto that, to get back to goals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would say that just being expressive, I'm a naturally happy person. And so those things honestly don't, at this point in my career, those kind of things really don't bother me at all. And I've seen the, you know, the ebb and flow of this business over the years. And so for something to happen, people panic. Like I joke that I've seen way too much in real estate. You know, you can't unsee a lot of that. And so we're also able to kind of peek around the corners. So I already know what's going to happen. So there's not a whole lot of stress or, you know, fear or anything. So I'm able to just get back to the basics, back to the things that I do on my schedule, and that just smooths everything out.
Gotcha. So you've seen a lot of these scenarios play out over time, and so it's not like it's getting you rattled. So what about earlier then in the career? Was it because you're expressive? Has this always been a strength, would you say, or did you have trouble with challenges more earlier in your career?
Probably earlier in my career, also because I was younger. Like when I first started, I was the youngest person in our MLS for like 9 years.
Wow.
So I would say that at that point in time, especially when I was starting out, the people didn't take me really seriously. And, you know, just show them that you're not going anywhere and got a good system and you're there to make a career out of that.
Do you think that drove you a little bit, like put a little chip on your shoulder in the beginning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Brought out the competitive fire a little bit.
Yes.
So now at this point in your career, you've been doing this a long time at a very high level. What keeps you motivated, today?
I think what keeps me motivated is just the idea, like my nephew has started with me in my business. It's fun to teach him and train him to maybe not make some of the mistakes that I made early on, help him be a better agent and basically a person.
Hmm.
And so that's been motivating to me, you
Cool.
know? Yeah,
Kind of sharing what you've learned and helping that next generation at this point.
right.
Yeah.
Although that generation doesn't exactly embrace the work ethic of my generation, but I'll just leave it there.
so let's talk about that a little bit. Like we've talked about a little bit how you go out and find business. When you first started in coaching and those numbers really started to spike, what sources really worked for you to get your traction and get that momentum?
So I've lived in Flagstaff for 45 years now, so I know a lot of people. I focused on calling and working what I would call a connector, which
Hmm.
is someone that's maybe not doing something themselves, but knows maybe 4 or 5 people. I also focused on multiple properties, so that was some investors. I also had a HUD contract, and that got for that very high peak. That was a lot of um, HUD properties that I was able to sell to. So
Gotcha.
that,
So
yeah,
you really focused on those connectors, and of course your database, like we talked about. And the thought that's coming to mind as you're sharing this is those things still apply today. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's expireds are harder, for sale by owners are harder. But those other, you didn't even mention those, right? And those sources that you just talked about are still available in any market, really.
yeah,
The difference is you have to go find them, right? And
right.
did everyone you called say, yes, Valerie, I want to work with you?
No,
Of course not, right?
no, they don't.
But when you stick with it for 37 years, you get you get enough wins to make it work, right?
Yeah, I only have to be 51%. That's it's right over that edge. Everything else is gravy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Good. All right. So
yeah.
what are your thoughts? And we've touched a little bit on this too. What are your thoughts on balance? A lot of people talk about that. And I feel like there's like one side of the coin or another on this. Because you seem to schedule time intentionally to have time for your family and these other activities. Can balance be achieved, or how do you look at balance?
I would say that balance is a fallacy. What I also so here's the challenge that I have these days is Andrew, who's my nephew here, sees me working 3 days a week basically, and
Yep.
thinks, oh, I should work 3 days a week. I'm like, sweetheart, listen, I've earned that because I've worked for years and years building this business to this point. That's not how this works.
Right.
And so, I mean, earlier on, the time and the effort was there. And so now I'm able to have what looks like balance, but I've earned it.
Right.
So that's, you have a goal, you're meeting your goal, and you've earned the basically balance in your life. So,
Yeah, well said. And like even now, where you've earned the schedule that you have now, it's still not perfect, right? It's still not perfectly balanced. There's always pulls and swings and things that tilt that you have to adjust for. It's life, right?
absolutely, yes. A vacation here and there. No, I'm just teasing. Hey,
Awesome.
wheels off the tarmac. I mean, I'll do everything I need to do until I'm doing something else,
Right. And
So
you have to stay. It's part of what I'm sure keeps you motivated too, right?
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, uh, what do you think your competitive advantage is over the years? I mean, I feel like we all, as humans, have our strengths and weaknesses, right? What's your competitive advantage? Something that's really helped you in your career?
Um, I think just generally, and it's natural that I'm a very positive person. And so I think that translates to clients all the time. When there's a challenge that comes up in a contract, once in a while, no, all the time, we're able to calmly solve that. Like I've done this so much that that I know what works and what doesn't work, and I'm able to help them through that without too much stress. I think.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense because when things come up, it can be a tendency to be very reactive, right? And sometimes we as agents may inadvertently be pouring fuel on the fire, right?
Right.
So to be naturally positive, I think is a huge advantage and rare, this day and age. So that makes sense. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, combine that with 37 years of doing that, and I think that's the competitive advantage.
That's
Yeah.
a double. You got the double whammy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up here, what advice would you have for someone that's going through a plateau? We all experience these tough points where it seems like nothing we do is like getting us to that next level. It could be in business or in life. What do you have anything you would share that might help someone in a plateau?
I would just say to sit down and have really maybe plan some bigger goals and figure out how you're going to achieve those. Anytime we kind of get into a plateau area, we bring our dream boards out. We talk about the great things that we're going to do. We share that with the office and your family, and that usually just clicks you right out of any slump or plateau that you're in. So time to be around, time to have more exposure, be around people that are thinking bigger, and really focus on those goals.
You said so many good things there, and it made me think of one more question. I love that you said you bring your family and your team in on the vision boards and what you're thinking bigger of. Because you've said you're so positive, when you are doing something big or new, do you have those feelings of discomfort and where you're unsure of yourself, or you're just like, let's do it and it feels great?
What do you think?
I think you probably still have those feelings, but
I don't. Like, we had a 50-50 shot,
So we're gonna add that to your competitive advantage too, because I think the most of us have that little uneasy feeling in our stomach, and we get a little bit nervous, and that tries to hold us back, and we have to force ourselves to.
So I'll tell you one thing that I was a little nervous about. This is the only thing that's even gotten a rise out of me. Is we went skydiving, and I'm a pilot, and so just sitting on the edge of the plane, ready to fall out of it, felt uncomfortable for a minute. I was like, is this the smartest thing I've ever done in my life? Because I feel like it's not. But so, once in a while I'll be like, oh.
Okay, well, that's reassuring, because now I know you are human, and you do. When you're on a plane, thousands of feet in the air, maybe you get a little uncomfortable.
Right. But so there you go.
Okay. Well, listen, thank you. I think you've shared a ton of value with our community today. If people want to connect with you, if they have questions on Flagstaff real estate, what's the best way for them to do that?
They could either call or email me.
Okay.
I think. Do you want me to say what the email is? Or...
Yeah, what's your email in case someone has questions about Flagstaff's a great place, right? You never know.
It is. It's beautiful here. That's why everyone wants to come, and it's easy to sell property in the summertime here too.
Awesome.
But it's Valerie@flagstaffhouses.com.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, listen, everyone, thank you for watching today. If you'd like to collaborate or have any questions, shoot me a DM. My team and I are always looking to learn and grow, and hope everybody has a great rest of your week. Thank you. Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you.